Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm gonna give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
So you're saying with Hilton Honors, I can use points for a free night stay anywhere?
Anywhere.
What about fancy places like the Canopy in Paris?
Yeah, Hilton Honors, baby.
Or relaxing sanctuaries like the Conrad in Tulum?
Hilton Honors, baby.
Ooh, what about the 5-star Waldorf Astoria in the Maldives?
Are you gonna do this for all 9,000 properties?
When you want points that can take you anywhere, anytime, it matters where you stay. Hilton, for the stay.
Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer ahead to learn more. See you this summer.
This season of Pack Your Knives is presented by the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority. And we got something special, a 6-part Savor Charlotte edition, diving into the people shaping one of the South's most exciting food scenes. Charlotte's been getting a lot of national buzz lately, and for good reason. From hosting Top Chef Carolinas to its growing presence in the Michelin Guide, the city is quickly becoming a place where bold new ideas and Southern tradition come together on the plate. So go check out charlottesgotalot.com for more. Sarah? Cup, bowl, or plate?
I am going to go against what you just asked, and I'm going to say a coupe.
I'm sorry, what?
A coupe.
Like a sedan? Like a sedan with 2 doors?
Well, a coupe is like a bowl plate. Like, you know, it's like the kind of large plate with the raised edges. So it's not really a bowl, but it's not really a plate. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we call it a coupe in the restaurant world.
It's the spork of vessels?
Yes, it is. So it's like you can plate kind of wide in it, or you can put broth or liquid or something and just have it be very shallow. I love a coupe. So
that's cheating.
I know. If I couldn't do that, then I would say bowl for sure.
Yeah, bowl is the right answer here.
Yeah.
I think you could sustain on just soup for the rest of your life. If you just had, like, I like to think of these things in like the extreme. Like if you just had plates for the rest of your life and no cup or bowl, you'd have a problem, right? If you had only cups, that would be second place in my list. And then bowl is the correct answer because it can both be a beverage vessel and a food vessel all at the same time. And you can smoke it.
Yeah. But you know what? If you had a coupe, you wouldn't need any of them.
Well, then what's the argument for plate or bowl if you have a coupe?
There's no argument.
You're saying in your restaurant you just have coupes?
No, we have plates too, and we have bowls also. But anything can be plated on a coupe. Anything. Because it's flat on the bottom. It's like, picture like a 10-inch plate. It's completely flat, but then it has like a little raised lip, you know, like comes up about 1.5 inches or so.
Is it an inefficient storage vessel?
Absolutely.
That's the problem. That's the problem, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Like dishwashers and storing, like it's not a great.
I mean, not all of them. I'm going to post some pictures of my favorite coupes on my Instagram story.
There we go. This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Tom Haberstroh.
And I am Sarah Bradley.
I'm on to you, Sarah. I'm on to you. You pulled one over on me, and I'm not so sure how you did it, but this is a long walk, so bear with me. Do you know the Pablo Torre Finds Out show? It's like sports investigative podcasting.
I can imagine it.
Okay. One of the things he recently did was he revealed all the secrets of Oz Perlman, the mentalist, who supposedly is a mind reader and is able to pick up your verbal cues and is able to like get all your nonverbal communication. And there's this guy on the internet who has 2 videos on his YouTube channel, And one of them is a 5-hour takedown of Oz Perlman, 5 hours long, that he goes through like essay style and breaks down how Oz Perlman reads your mind. And the answer is, he doesn't read your mind. He just has these pre-show meetings with Joe Rogan, or if it's Good Morning America, or if it's Hassan Minhaj, that we don't see the pre-show meeting. And we don't see that when you type in your calculator, your PIN code to your ATM, that he can go into your phone and then go into your calculator game log, essentially, your calculator log, and be able to figure out what your PIN code is based on what you typed in there. It has a memory in your calculator on your iPhone. So there's all these tricks and stuff that he's figured out that on air, you're like, how does he do it? Well, this whole Pablo Torre episode got me down this path. So how did you know who was going to be in the final 3 before we did our blind draft? Because this is insane. This is insane.
No one knew, right? Like, we did that before we went on any episodes. That was done before the show started. So we didn't know. It feels like when you sent me that and it was like, damn, I did really good. It felt like I cheated, but I didn't. I just guessed them. Like, I don't know. I mean, I looked at all the stuff and maybe because I've done it so many times and I've watched it for so many years, but I think maybe competing on it so many times, I was like looking at certain things that I thought would be for longevity.
Yeah. For what we're referencing for background, your number 1 pick was Lawrence. Then your second pick was Rhoda or Sherry. And then your third pick was Rhoda.
Yep.
And I had Anthony number 1 overall, and he went very far into the competition for sure. And actually, if you go according to our point system, he's actually ahead of Rhoda right now, still with 49 points. And Rhoda's in 4th place with 42 points. Sherry has 57 and Lawrence has 67. And then no one else has more than 20 points. I think the scoring system we added this year to have -3 for being in the bottom, I think that might be a little too costly, being in the bottom, because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 15 chefs are in the positive this year. Like, Seeger is -1, Oscar is -3. So I kind of feel like if half of the competitors are in the red in this scoring system, maybe we need to be a little more forgiving if you're in the bottom 3. But we're pretty good at projecting based on the resumes this season. And so I'm wondering if we can go back a little bit. And is there anything that we've seen this season that you're like, yeah, that's why I picked Lawrence, or that's why I picked Rhoda, or that's why I picked Sherry? Because the fact that the top 4 in points are 1, 2, 3, and 4 in our big board on draft day, I think that tells us something about your resume going into Top Chef.
Well, I will say that my first was Lawrence and Sherry. When you picked Anthony, I was like, what is happening here? And then my third pick was going to be Jossie, but you got Jossie. And so then I skipped to Rhoda. And then my next pick was going to be Anthony before Seeger. So you got 2 of my top 5 picks, so some of the ones that I wanted to pick, I didn't get to because you got them. But I don't know. I mean, I just looked at like, had they done any TV before? I kind of looked at the family tree. Like, Marcus Samuelsson has really good family tree on Top Chef. And
agree. Yep.
I think that they like all are, they're talking to each other. They're helping each other out. They've figured out a way to prepare each other. So, we had
Sherry, her
Anthony.
New York. Yeah. Well, I'm saying, there's that. But I was saying, like, Sherry, also her New York bona fides and the chefs that she had worked under. I mean, women too. I'm just going to say they're kicking ass and taking names. So in the top 2 here, it was Rhoda and Sherry, and then Lawrence and Jonathan were in the bottom. And I can't help but think about, I think the studies have shown in Top Chef punch way above their weight. And then you got, of course, in terms of the representation on the show, they do a lot better than you'd think.
And I'm going to say that I think if Jennifer had been 100%, she would have been in the finale. I think she's that good. She was so solid. She did so well with like one arm. I mean, it was crazy to watch her do that. And I think that, I think if she comes back next year, I think she takes the whole thing. I call it right now. If she comes back.
Wait a minute. You're revealing your big board before we do our draft next year?
I mean, I'm going to get first pick, right? Or maybe I won't. Will I take the 2? I don't know. But I'm just saying, I think that if she comes back, I think she takes it because she now knows what happens behind the scenes. She understands the challenges. She understands the stand around and wait that is so hard to grasp as a restaurant person that is always go, 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 go. And then you have to completely shift, the dynamic and how you do things. And she's super solid and she's going to know what to prepare. So I think if Jennifer comes back, I think she takes it next year.
Well, Jonathan stuck around. Actually, you mentioned Jennifer. Jonathan actually has fewer points in this season than Jennifer did. So he had never won an episode, a challenge this season, Jonathan. And so he goes out in this episode for his pumpkin on a pedestal, and all 4 dishes were awesome, just awesome dishes. And of course, it feels like to me that they had to pick, they were nitpicking the fact that he didn't have a protein. I kind of felt like without a protein, it was going to be tough for him to stay in the competition, given how thin the margins were. And so he eventually gets eliminated without having a single elimination challenge win. And that can happen. You can get this far in the competition by just staying in the middle. And again, in Top Chef, you don't have to outrun the bear. You just have to outrun the last person outrunning the bear. And Jonathan did that to a T in this competition. Really good. And has a couple team quickfire wins under his belt. But ultimately, I think that these are the 3 best chefs in the competition. Rhoda, Sherry, and of course Lawrence in the competition. So you got them 1, 2, and 3 in your draft, and you should be thrilled about that right now. Just 180 to 44. I still haven't had a bad week in the last couple of weeks. I haven't
You've been
been in
doing
the red.
fabulous. You've been doing so good. Let's just talk about Jonathan's dish really quick. Pumpkin on a pedestal. That dish was really smart. He did something he knew he could do perfectly. I loved the way you opened it up and it had the little pumpkin in there. I don't necessarily think that it needed a protein. I mean, if it had been like integrated into the dish more, I think that he would have had a really good chance because it's ballsy to serve bread and butter. It's ballsy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
a dinner roll for your finale. You're in the final 4 semifinals and you do a dinner roll. Elevated, quite literally.
I know. But, they really liked his. So like had somebody else not had season or, somebody else could have had a very simple flaw and it could have sent him home. And I was a little worried when they were talking about Lawrence, and the whole thing.
Thick rice roll, extra thick. Yeah.
It looked super thick. But it was great to watch. Now, the dish that I wanted to eat though, I wanted to eat Sherry's dish. Yeah. I love eating with my fingers. I love not having to use silverware. And that dish, I can see how much fun it would have been, but damn, what a bitch it would have been to plate.
Well, she not only had all the ingredients there on the trapeze thing with the clips, and I loved what's her name, Liza Koshy's line. Is this a clothesline for ants? That was great. But she cooked everything and prepared everything. So it wasn't like she just like slapped a bunch of ingredients up there and then just said, hey, make your own dish. This was, and Tom was just ecstatic over this dish. And Gail was like, oh, look, it's Happy Tom. I didn't think it would be over that dish when they did the preview, but ultimately when Tom is sold that it's not gimmicky at all, it serves a function, it brings out the childhood in you, and the flavors were popping. And I think just Sherry knew what she wanted to do on this dish. She brought in kind of a story of K-Town. We're going to K-Town after hours. We're going out and we're going to a Korean barbecue joint, maybe doing a little karaoke out here, having a great time. And it always feels like at this point in the competition, if you have this like life experience and you're able to tap into that and channel that and combine all of your technique and your education and your expertise, then that is when you truly sing on Top Chef. And that was, I mean, she was singing the opera in this one.
It was great. I mean, again, as a chef in New York, we would go out. Ours wasn't always K-Town, but on Saturday night, we worked around the corner from Shake Shack. And every once in a while, we would close down on a Saturday night early enough to go over and get Shake Shack. And that was just like a dream to me. We would go down to K-Town a lot too. We would do a lot of fried chicken. We did a lot of stuff. 2000 and I guess I left there in like 2012.
Okay. So Shake Shack had kind of taken off at that point?
There was like a few of them. I don't think there were chains anywhere.
Yeah.
There might have been a few, but they weren't like in airports. Yeah, Charlotte Airport has a Shake Shack, you know? Like, so they weren't there. But you know, I'm going to say the one thing about Sherry that kind of, I don't know. I don't know what the word is. Kind of gets me all a little bit fired up, a lot of bit fired up. She uses quite a bit of prepared ingredients. And sometimes chefs really get knocked for that. I mean, I can remember like just getting knocked like anytime. And we've seen her now do it the second cook in a row. She has taken something, dumped it out of a glass jar, added some stuff to it, and called it her own. And so I'm just wondering if there is like a transition in the Top Chef world of like store-bought is okay. Because we've seen it a lot of other things, you know, and they ask Jonathan, Gail says, well, did you make your own butter? And he was like, no.
Oh,
and then they come out and they say, well, did you make your own kimchi? Oh, no. You know, I did. And Tom's like, oh, that is such a smart idea. So like
when waffle mix isn't a smart idea, what the hell?
You know, well, the thing about, and we can talk about waffle mix all we want, but we don't have to, but we will. I will just say, I was a nice, kind person and shared buttermilk with the other person making waffles. And so I bought a mix that had buttermilk powder, baking soda, baking powder, and flour all mixed together. And then zhuzhed it up anyway. But that very next episode, Adrienne comes out with a bunch of hot sauce that was store-bought. And she just like, you know, blended some stuff into it. And Tom called her out. But this is the first time I've seen them knock one person for not making something and then turn around and just praise the other person for doing it. I mean, yes, he could have made his own butter. It wouldn't have been that hard to do. She could not have made her own kimchi, but you know, I mean,
what do you think that is? What do you think that is? Why do you think one is acceptable, but the other is not?
Maybe because she had so many ingredients. They were like, oh, but she has, you know, the nori and the charred scallion and she has the braised beef. And there was some sort of like sambal or chili crisp or something on that plate. She didn't make that. She dumped that out of a container and put that on the plate. Then she took the kimchi and she added diced pears to it. So those were not condiments that she made. She braised the beef. Did she serve it? She served it with bread, right? No.
Well, I wonder if would Rhoda, the personalities here of Rhoda, Lawrence, and Jonathan, would any of them, is there like a secret pact among them that like, hey, we're all going to do some prepared stuff or store-bought stuff, so let's not call each other out. A kind of rising tide floats all boats thing where it's an agreement that we're not going to, because I could see a situation where one of them at the judges table, if it is razor thin margins and you're on the chopping block, that you might say, in a very Seeger way, but less confrontational, less, dickish, is just, yeah. I mean, I really spent a lot of time preparing that because I didn't want to buy it from, Whole Foods and then throw it onto a plate. Maybe the knives aren't out for each other in ways that maybe in past seasons people were like willing to call that out or just softly call it out. Or it is just what you said, is that it wasn't a case where she had plenty of time and she chose not to do the kimchi. Tom maybe and the gut judges realized there was no way for her to do kimchi unless she bought it from the store. But I'm with you, is that like this, hey, she's cooking her ass off, but also this is different. This is this is not the same standard as other seasons. Right?
Yeah. It's just, there's a little bit of like pick and choose. I didn't like that. I just didn't like that. I felt, and I would feel almost certain that Lawrence made all those sauces, but I don't ever remember them showing him making any sauces. I just remember him making the rice rolls. But I feel like he's been making those sauces. And those weren't hard sauces. One was like a mustard sauce and different things like that. But yeah, I did want to eat Sherry's. I did think it looked fabulous. But I probably would have like pushed the kimchi and like the store-bought chili crisp to the side and been like, not even going to count it towards your dish. I don't know. Or actually, I probably wouldn't have. I would have eaten that shit. Let's be honest. But I just thought it was such a odd play to knock one person and then turn around and praise another person for doing that.
Do you hear that? Sounds like breakfast is ready. Because Quaker's coming in hot with morning nutrition. 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber to fuel the rhythm of your morning and kickstart your day. And that sounds absolutely delicious. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
Let's go! So good, so good, so good.
Everything you want for summer is at Nordstrom Rack stores now, and up to 60% off. Stock up and save on the brands you love like Vince, Sam Edelman, Frame, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
We could do a full breakdown of the elimination challenge, but I want to start from the top where we had the quickfire, the Tom's 20 questions, which is a fun little game. First question, was there a meat protein? Yes. Was there a side dish? No. Fish? Yes. Classic? Yes. White wine base? Yes. Fish seared? No. Tomato? No. Spinach? No. Underline that one. Spinach? No. Shellfish? Yes. Finished in butter? Yes. Fresh pepper? Yes. Poached? Yes. Monkfish? No. Cod? Yes. Tuscan kale? No. Poached in liquid? Yes. Veggies in same liquid? No. Shishitos? No. Shrimp? No. And lemon to finish? No, which underline that one because Sherry was too in the weeds on her own dish, in the trenches to hear that one. How did you feel about their questions here on Tom's 20 questions? Guess his dish.
Well, Jonathan had a rough start.
Yeah.
He had a rough start to it. But, he had a rough start. That's what we'll go with.
Well,
I was surprised how many of them didn't have a pepper on the plate. Like one person put a pepper on the plate.
It was one of the three clues. It was
obvious clue, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they could taste. I think they could just smell and look. I don't think they could taste it. But yeah, I thought, Yeah, he had a rough gust, but he got cod. He was the one that got cod. I think it was an interesting move by Lawrence. He was like, you know what? I'm going to go clams. And if everybody else goes mussels, like it's not going to hurt him. It's not a detriment, right? So a little bit of a gamble that could have been, it's like low risk, high reward if he gets that, right?
Game theory, right?
Yeah,
if everyone's zigging, I'm going to zag just because the expected value on that is if I hit it right, I'm hitting jackpot.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of money. How much money was that one for?
20K.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, other than that, it wasn't gonna hurt him. You know, it used to be like your performance in the quickfire affected the elimination, but now it doesn't.
Jonathan's questions were, was it a side dish? Which a little bit of a foreshadow here, because I think some might interpret his elimination challenge dish to be a side dish, even though it was the most side dish of the 4 that were there. So that kind of felt like that was a little bit of a storytelling there. I don't think it was deliberate. So his questions were, was it a side dish? Was it spinach, cod, which vindicated him, Tuscan kale, or shrimp? Not the best questions of there. Lawrence was there a main protein? Yes. Lawrence also said, was it the fish seared? Was it fresh pepper? Was it monkfish? No. And was it shishitos? So solid, because he saw the stem of the pepper. So he asked, was it shishito? But usually when you have shishitos, there's like multiple shishitos just as I'm thinking about it, rather than a single solitary pepper. And then who was it who did the chilies on the dish? Lawrence did the Fresno chilies on the dish.
Sherry had one. Sherry had the right pepper. She had the right pepper.
She had the ají dulce. Yeah.
Yeah. But just because, was it a main, or was there what did they say? What was the question? Was there a main protein? Is that what they said?
That was the very first question. Lawrence, the very first question was there a main protein?
I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be an entree. Doesn't, I mean, you know, like, we have lots of dishes where the protein is the main thing, and it's a shared plate. It's a small plate. So I didn't think that, I mean, there could have been a much, much better question. They should have said, like, is it a land protein? Is it a sea? Like, you play 20 questions with your kids, right? Like, you give them, you know, is it a mammal? Like, you ask like very specific, and their questions were a little broad. And then once they tried to hone in on them and be specific, and they weren't that great.
Do you feel like you would have been really good at this? Or were you feeling like, ooh, this one would be not my,
I think it would have been good. I think it would have been good. I think you could look, I would have guessed that was like some sort of white wine butter sauce, like in there. I would have seen the herbs. I would have seen the peppers. I'm really good, like good smeller, got a good smeller. So I think I probably also would have smelled that. But the other thing is that they were all kind of relying on their contemporaries to figure out the dish, right? Like, one person gets mussels and then like it's shellfish, and like then another person gets mussels. You know, one person asks, is it a white wine sauce? Is it finished in butter? And then all of a sudden they all have to change their dish to do that. So it was kind of cool. I liked that game.
It is a really impressive game. I mean, to come up with the questions and prepare it in 30 minutes, and they looked pretty similar to Tom's dish. That is one of the most impressive parts of Top Chef, is when you get whittled down to 4 chefs here. They're all super, super talented. And then to pull that off in 30 minutes, when he started, I was like, there's no way they're going to get this. And then by the end, it looks pretty similar. And I've never had a Billy Bee, but that sounds amazing. It sounds amazing as a dish. And so I want one right now.
Well, I loved the chorizo. At first, you know what? I did not catch him putting chorizo in the dish. I saw it when they went back to it. And so I also was wondering what the red was. I guess I just missed it when he was like going in for the cook, and I didn't know. And so I saw that red. So I thought, oh, maybe it's paprika. Maybe there's a little oil that came off of the chilies. You know, I was trying to figure it out too. But But the smoked paprika was a great sub in there because chorizo has so much of it in. So, yeah.
Sarah, would you like to be the culinary producer there? Is like trying to figure out what I'm going to leave on the plate?
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
They just left one stem of a pepper. That's it.
Crazy.
Like what?
Right?
Did Kristen eat the other stems? No. They just left that one little stem. And you could see they like just a little bit of the herb, just enough of the sauce, but they didn't leave any fish. They didn't leave any little, protein. But I bet it definitely smelled shellfishy,
Yep. It's funny because Sherry puts in the spinach and the lemon zest, like she didn't hear that part of it. And yet she and Rhoda were in the top 2. The paprika thing was really fascinating that like you said, that Rhoda picked that out. And I kind of feel like I did not pick out, like when they had just the bowl, the finished product, without the actual mussels and the fish in there and the potatoes and leeks and whatnot. I thought they might have just like a little speck of the chorizo in there, but I guess the aroma of it, you might be able to pick it out. Then they go, all right, so she wins, Rhoda wins.
Was that in a bowl or was it in a coupe?
Oh, it could have been a coupe. You know what?
I feel like maybe it was a coupe. I feel like I'm like thinking about it now. I'm picturing.
Coupes having a moment. Mm-hmm.
It's coupes. Damn coupes. Yeah.
We go to Whole Foods. So they're back. I should just say they're in Top Chef Kitchen in Charlotte for this episode for basically its entirety. And then they go to Whole Foods Market. And they have to go buy, their ingredients and whatnot. Sherry is like, I'm just going to get some wine, drink it for fun, which what a legend. But I want to call this out. Was something that happened in this shop that reminded me of something happened that I was at a baseball game yesterday here in Charlotte with my kids. And we're sitting behind home plate. And I knew that my kids want to be on the Jumbotron. Like they want to be on the big screen, right? Yeah. They're just like, dancing at everything. They're trying to catch the t-shirts and all that stuff. And they just really want to get on the Jumbotron. So I see that the cameraman has this amazingly long beard. And so I just go, hey, cameraman, love the beard, brother. And like, just point at him. And he's like, yeah. And he points at me. And I knew as a dad, that was going to be the ticket for them to being on the Jumbotron. Because now the guy with the beard is like, I want to pay that forward. I want to, that compliment he gave me, you know what? I'm going to get those girls on TV in a little bit. Sure enough, in the next inning, they're doing a little dance thing and then they get on TV. Same thing happened in this episode with the Whole Foods worker who goes up to Sherry and says, I love the hat. I love the hat. Because she knew that was going to make it to air. And so she said, I'm going to be on Top Chef this season. And so I'm going to go and compliment Sherry and realize that I'm going to get on Top Chef in 6 months when this airs. And she was really smart. So well done, Whole Foods market worker, for kind of figuring out the game within the game. You don't see too many Whole Foods staffers on the show, but she figured it out.
So let me give you this story. And I know that she listens. So we're in the Whole Foods in London. We go the very first time and there's this girl. And I was like, hey, where's the watermelon or whatever? She was like, oh, it's over here. And I was like, oh, where are you from? Like, I hear your accent. Like, where are you from? She was like, Miami. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I was like, all right, when I scream Miami, you come. She was like, all right. And so I would run into Whole Foods and I would be like, Miami, Miami, Miami. And she would come running and I would be like, where are the eggs? Where's the heavy cream? And she would just like point me in the direction of everything. And, her friends come and they're kind of regulars at the restaurant, but it's always like a really fun story because she still lives over there. And it's like her college roommate comes into the restaurant. They don't even live in Paducah. They just drive to come and eat. And it's always like, oh, there's Miami. There she is. There's Miami's friend. Yeah, I would scream and she would come running. It was fabulous. You got to work with what you got, man.
I mean, no other person would think like I need to make friends with the Whole Foods staff and then just shout when I get in there, Miami. The other contestants must have thought you were just insane. But that's a smart move.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's like a call in the wild where you're like, it's some sort of like a weird mating call in the jungle where you're like trying to get the person to come and then they help you out. Symbiotic relationship. You're going to have some fun at my restaurant with your friends. And to this day, wait, am I getting this right? The one in the Whole Foods that we would go to has a friend or a roommate that goes to Paducah to go to your restaurant. And you have seen Miami in your...
No, I have not seen Miami. But there's pictures of me and like her college roommate, and they send them over. And actually the first time they came in, we took a picture and she didn't even know. And she like sent it to her friend and she was like, look, somebody from Top Chef. And she's like, that's the girl that would scream my name every time she came into Whole Foods. Yeah. So that's
it. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
You gotta like, there's some gameplay to it, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Where's the kimchi? You go get it. Like you have to utilize everything. You got to like figure out all the advantages because stuff was not organized in a normal supermarket way for us there. It was kind of difficult to like figure it all out. Yeah.
Where's the nearest Whole Foods?
For me?
Yeah.
Probably Nashville.
So there's no like studying Whole Foods markets for you? Like just like I'm going to go and just like kind of study the map.
Our boy Eric Ajapong did that. He flew to Louisville before the show and he like went into Whole Foods and like walked around and checked it out. Yeah. He said he like came early. He like scoped it out. He went to the grocery store. He looked at all the ingredients. He kind of learned his way around. Yes. I mean, there's no stopping you.
The one over by the mall?
By St. Matthews, I think.
Yeah. Mall of St. Matthews.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to that one. It's a good one.
It's a good one.
The one in Charlotte that they went to on this episode, I don't think was the Uptown one. They went to the one out a little bit, but yeah. So let's get into this. So we have Lawrence picks out the kind of like metal oysters. I don't know what you would call it. Like what was that thing?
It almost seemed like little metal oyster shells. I don't know. But did you notice that they told him he would get 3 to plate on? And then he plated 3, but one of those had to go to Beauty. Like he didn't get to send out 3 plates because one had to go to Beauty. So I felt like he then all of a sudden, can you imagine the math of making sure that everybody at the table got one?
Think about that.
Oh my God. My head would have exploded.
Yeah.
My head would have exploded. Yeah.
Would you have swapped out? Because Jonathan swapped his out.
I feel like Lawrence had, like, he saw that and he was like, he had the dish. He was like, this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. So I probably wouldn't have swapped out if I had set my dish. Yeah, man, Jonathan, he just needed to use the vessel better.
Yeah. Well, what was funny was when he's showing when Liza and Tom are walking through, doing their little dance and going in there and asking questions. And he goes, they fit perfectly in there, and he puts it on a pedestal. I don't think it fit very perfectly. It just kind of it didn't set solidly where it was perfect. And I was like, oh, I hope Tom doesn't go, are you sure perfect? Because maybe you need a smaller pumpkin or maybe a different vessel because it didn't fit as perfectly as you said so. And then he does that, and I loved the interplay of opening it up and it's like this surprise, and then the door being the little butter dish was like, it's one thing to have a door, but to have it have some utility to it, that was really impressive. And he did like pumpkin a few ways, and I did think to myself, ooh, here we go again with Lawrence doing a quad. Like
he did like
the rice rolls 4 ways, and he is just the king of the non-singles. Like, he is someone who likes polygamy. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know he had a lot of
he likes pain. That's pain. That is pure pain what he's doing to himself.
Yeah,
he could have focused on like one perfect, like made something that was absolutely just impeccable, thin little rice sheets, and they would have been like, this is fabulous. But he tried to do too much.
Was that, Sarah, you think, a product of using Carolina Gold rice instead of jasmine rice, that he wasn't familiar with the actual rice?
I don't know. I didn't think about that. I think that it probably would have been thinner if he'd had a larger vessel. But I think maybe he was concerned when he had to go into like the little we call those eighth pans, like the smallest sheet pan size you can get. He had to go in there so that he could get them. And as they were going in, it appeared that like parts of them were thicker than others. Like, so when they went in, if that oven was just a little bit off, then that meant the pot was a little off. And, like it was like leaning. So I think that they got really thick in some spots and they were probably thin in others. They probably weren't cooked evenly through.
Sausage and shiitake with peanut sauce. Then he did a lobster with black bean garlic relish, braised short rib with daikon. And then the final one was the sweet potato with a little bit of coconut sauce or what have you on that one. So the four of them together, and then you had the sauces in the little pans. I think just a superb presentation, and the rice was a little too thick, or the rice roll was a little too thick. But man, Lawrence, he has this ability to bring in story, bring in his own history, and put it out on a plate. And he's so good at this game. He's so good at it, even though he didn't win this episode. Yeah,
he does a solid job. He also, when he comes out and talks about the food, I notice that sometimes I'll notice that while someone is talking, the judges are kind of like poking around and kind of like, looking at the food, maybe looking at the plate, smelling it. But when Lawrence comes out, they stop and they listen. They're intrigued by what he says. And I mean, right? Like if you want to listen to what someone says, that's pretty amazing.
What is that like for you?
I'm just realizing that I feel like I look like I'm in like a prison chair with like, I don't know what is. Sorry. I just looked behind me. I was like, is there a prison chair? I got it. I'm not in a prison chair.
Like an electrocution chair?
Yeah, like with the thing like that's going to come down over my head and like zap me.
Like
if you guys can't see it, I don't know exactly. If you can't see where I'm sitting in this like kind of old vintagey looking chair, and I have a lamp behind me, but the lamp is literally like right over my head. Like I could pull it down and just.
Couldn't it just be like a salon hairdresser?
Like a hairdryer, hair too. Yeah, that'd be much nicer.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to get electrocuted.
Is getting electrocuted less fun or more fun than having to stand up there and deliver your speech to the judges and like kind of in your head watch them as they're eating it, trying to dissect while also keeping your poker face on? I'd imagine presenting to the chefs at the table, you would have a million thoughts. Nail your speech, nail the story and what you cooked and how you prepared it. But also I'm just staring at each one of them and trying to pick up clues about whether they're enjoying the dish or not.
I always loved when they would ask me a few questions. There was two things. Padma might ask me a question and she'd be like, did you mean to undercook this? Whatever, she would ask me that. But then Gail or Tom, they might ask a question and you could always get a vibe of like how the dish had performed by the questions they had asked.
What questions don't you want?
Did you mean to undercook this? Did you forget to put something on the plate? Did you mean to not give everyone sauce? Like whatever it is. But you would get like some questions where you could feel the vibe because some people would start to eat, a little early. But when
you go back into the room, into the kitchen or the stew room, were people really good at sensing whether they did well or not, or were there times that you're just shooting darts in the dark, like you don't really have a good feel for whether you're in the top or bottom?
No, I mean, I think we know when we put the food out if we are if like the dish was executed the way we wanted. When you get to that level of kind of cooking and that late into the competition, you've dialed in pretty well. The judges seem to be a little more laid back also, like I've noticed. Like once you get farther on, they seem to be a little more laid back. But like you go out and you have been running on 100, your adrenaline is so high. And so you go out, it's like you've been in the back and you've been like electrocuted, you're just go. And then you have to walk out and chill and stop. And I always thought like, oh my God, my apron is so dirty. Like my hand, like I'm a hand talker, but I would always be so concerned that like my hands didn't look clean. And that they would think about that stuff.
You got turmeric all over your
I pulled an Oscar. Yeah, but you don't, you go out and you have to immediately, and here's my dish, and this is what I did. And then you turn around and you walk and you can hear them start to like chitter chatter. And then you have to go back into the kitchen and, tidy up or get your knives or do whatever you got to do. So it's a little like, it's a roller coaster for sure. And then you just sit around and wait to find out what they have to say.
Yeah.
So it definitely is ups and downs. So I probably would rather talk to the judges than get electrocuted.
That's
the
fair.
answer to your question.
Well, Rhoda, I think is tough for her because she had different pieces of wood for each dish that she had to plate. So there's a inherent difficulty. And I had that thought where she picked the wood and I was like, is every piece of wood going to be that exact shape, or is it going to be a series of different pieces of wood? And did that go into her calculus at all? Because as the winner of the quickfire, she got to get first pick, right? Or yeah, she got first pick for this, right? It wasn't Sherry because she won the previous. I think it was Rhoda. Yeah. So Rhoda picks the wood, seawood plank, whatever you want to call it, driftwood. And it seemed not rote or like cliche to use like, oh, since it's wood, I'm going to go with like a garden thing. But she executed it well and she did a beat dirt, and you have to cater to the vessel. But I didn't think it was all that inventive. It just took a lot more care and tweezers to make that dish really sing. Very predictable. When I saw her pick the wood, we knew what she was going to do. It could have been different if she'd gone like dessert or she'd gone like everything was brown, you can make brown can be beautiful when everything's like a shade of beige. Sometimes we'll call that like 50 shades of brown when it hits like late fall, early winter, that everything is brown. She could have done something with it that was like a little cooler than, I hate those tiny vegetables. God, I hate them. Y'all, them little tiny turnips. The baby turnips and baby.
I bet you each one of those turnips is $2. They were just, it was so precious, the dish was so precious. And I saw her doing it and I thought, those are kind of big bites. Like you can't really like cut that on the board. And it felt like too large of a bite of meat to put on the plate. I probably would have taken those down by like about 2/3. I like to think, can an old woman, can she eat it? Is it like easy to nice to eat without her having to worry that it's going to spill all over her dress? When people like the cooks and stuff, they say how big, and I'm like, should fit in an old woman's mouth nicely. Like that's the rule around here.
The Southern answer for that. It's so good.
Or if you got like a bouillon.
Woman, can my grandma? What's it? What Gimper? Can my Gimper eat it?
Yeah, but like if you're eating a soup, you have a bouillon spoon. So don't put something on this inside the soup that is so big you can't eat it with the spoon. Come on, y'all. Yeah, those steak pieces were a little too big, I thought.
Let it be known that Rhoda, not Gimper proof, but Freight House Gimper proof.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But it did look beautiful. And it was definitely, she did have to plate them all differently, which I would have loved that. I would have loved to do that. I think that would have been, that's really where I like to do art. So that's, for me, that would have been really fun. Yeah, I don't know. Hers was definitely the most like refined, kind of high end looking, but it was a little predictable. Kristen, gosh, she couldn't shut up about that pickled seaweed, could she?
Oh yeah,
whoa! She loved it. What was
brought it all together?
What was the pickled seaweed?
Seaweed was the star of the show. Really made the dish. Oh, the pickled seaweed! Can't talk enough about it.
She just loved it. I was like, and I rewound it back to try to see like what the pickled seaweed was, and I couldn't find the pickled seaweed. I didn't know, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Good sleep is everything. That's why Ollie's Science Bag Support is made with a blend of melatonin and L-theanine for both kiddos and grown-ups. So when your mind won't switch off, you've got something that can help. Your racing thoughts and restless nights won't stand a chance. Find Ollie Sleep Solutions for the whole family at ollie.com. That's OLLY.com.
Beat soil. Sorry, not dirt. Watch. I don't know if there's like a faux pas with dirt or soil in the kitchen, but what are your thoughts on how do you prepare beet soil like that?
So there's a couple different ways. One, if you have something that's like a pure fat, like olive oil, butter, like something that is tallow, something that's majority fat, there could be a tiny bit of liquid, but not very much. You can use like tapioca, maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is something like people whip it into their smoothies and stuff like that. But there's one that's specifically derived from tapioca and it turns the stuff into powder. Like when you see like a soil, like olive oil soil or something like that. But the minute it touches liquid, it goes back. It doesn't hold its shape. That beet, she probably like roasted those beets and maybe charred them some. And I feel like maybe they were just pulsed in I don't know how she did because the beet is not like pure, fat. So I think she just probably just the way she cut them.
This is a little bit of a divergence. How does AI affecting making menus and stuff and for cookbooks where if I want to know how to do something, I used to have to go look it up in a cookbook or go ask my grandma how to prepare this. How is it shifting the culinary world where are you able to see on a menu, oh yeah, this menu was just Claude put this together? Do you have an eye for that stuff?
I don't know. Not really yet, just because I think maybe on some of like the more corporate-y stuff, it might feel that way. But when I look at other chefs' menus, I don't see that. I do know that people have very specific styles of writing menus. I use very few words and very few like roasted, steamed. I don't use a lot of like verbs to tell you how we've prepared the food because you're going to get one food prepared many ways or one ingredient. But I mean, I use AI. Sometimes I'll be like, can you give me different savory applications that are interesting and unique for parsnips that also contain lemongrass and coconut? And you just see what they say. Usually it's bullshit, but sometimes they'll say something that's like kind of sparks a little bit of like interest. I don't know. I'm into AI for responding to emails, not into it for creating a menu.
Yeah, which seems like the way to use AI. For my job, it is amazing how terrible it is.
Like running stats and stuff?
Oh, I mean, coming up with story ideas. Like I just did ranking the top 10 Knicks players of all time. And I asked, for research purposes, Claude, because my favorite research tool wasn't able to answer this question. So I go to Claude or whatever, ChatGPT, and I ask, hey, which Knicks player played the longest for the Knicks and played his career exclusively with the Knicks? So he didn't play for any other teams. And it would give me a list, and Patrick Ewing was number one. Patrick Ewing famously left the Knicks and played for Seattle and Orlando. And so I was like, hey, no, Patrick, didn't he play? And I always play games. I'm like, didn't he play for Orlando or Seattle? And they're like, yeah, my bad. Here's the new list. Number one is Walt Clyde Frazier. I'm like, actually, Walt Clyde Frazier. And I realized that, man, maybe I need to be paying for like the top model or whatever, not the free version. But in the culinary space, I'd imagine it's very useful to come up with like, all right, seasonal, what are the hottest trends to like tap into? What are like, I guess, can one of these things research all the menus in America and be like, baby turnips are super hot right now, or beet soil is super hot right now, and that's the most underserved. If you want to get on this wave now, and it's going to be fun, everyone's going to order like 400 of these every night. I'd imagine that might be useful for a chef. But then like the whole like curating a menu and having it type out your menu, there's going to be typos in there. I'm pretty sure. And then you have to fact check it. And then you're like, why am I using this thing if I have to go in and fact check all the information it's spitting out? But you're just using it for like a spark of inspiration that you're going to do it your own way.
Yeah, I might like, and I don't use it like that very often, but you know, you might be stumped, or you might like, you know, or sometimes I'll say like, you know, does butterscotch go with pineapple? And I mean, I know butterscotch and pineapple go good together. I might try something else. Does butterscotch, pineapple, and kiwi go good together? It possibly could, because those things go with coconut, and kiwi and coconut go together. So like, there's a whole spider web that happens in my head, and sometimes I'll use it to like kind of hone it in, because my shit be going. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, was it Bill Bradley? Is that right?
Bill Bradley's tied for first. Yeah.
Really?
Did you just ask one of your apps?
I just Googled it. But it gave me, like, it said well, first it didn't say Bill Bradley. First it said somebody else. And then it also told me that, about the Bucks. And then I realized it's because I typed it in incorrectly. Yeah. Giannis was like and Giannis played the longest for the Bucks. And I was like, that's not what I asked about. But originally it told me John McLaughlin. And then it told me he was drafted. So yeah, so you can't trust AI, y'all.
Don't trust AI unless it's when you're asking about butterscotch and kiwi going together. And in which case, hell yeah, bring in our overlords. Okay, back to the show. Sherry, the banchan, gochujang, short rib, pear kimchi, rice, nailed it. Happy Tom, thrilled. They're all making their speech about why they deserve to go to the finale. Always a heartfelt tug at the heartstrings. Waterworks in that studio. It was the Top Chef kitchen. After Lawrence spoke, Gail was crying, Kristen was crying, Lawrence was crying, Jonathan was like, hey, in the very Yoda Jonathan way of he's just trying to coach everybody up, whether it's Seeger in the last episode or in this one, Lawrence, he just was like, hey, you got this, bro. Well, I forget what the line was, but he was like, just take a deep breath or something like that to support him as he's talking about his wife and kid.
Yeah, Jonathan is fabulous. He is what a kind person. He's so thoughtful. He's interesting. He manages a huge, a restaurant group, and he has a good like bedside manner. He is really great at talking to people. He's kind of funny. He has a great way of like asking questions. Like when he asked Seeger, like, are you sure you're going to be able to pipe that? Like in a piping bag, talking about the chicken liver, like almost like he is very used to letting people think it's their idea, even though it may not be. I hated to see him go, but I do think that the top three people made it where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I can't really argue. I mean, maybe Anthony because he had 2 wins. He has the 3rd most wins, and Sherry. Well, now Sherry has. She has 2 wins, so she has the same amount as Anthony in the elimination challenge victories. But like I can't definitively say that Anthony deserves to be in the top 3 over Sherry. I just can't. As biased as I am, and I'm as much of a homer as I am, I can't possibly say that. Jonathan, though, if Jonathan was in over Anthony, maybe I would say Anthony deserves to be in that spot or Sherry deserves to be in that spot. But I can't look at the final 3 and feel like, hey, these aren't the 3 best competitors in the competition.
But Tom, Anthony doesn't deserve it because he served the worst dish one time. Like Top Chef is about making it to the end. You do not have to have the best dish every time, right? You just cannot have the worst dish. And if you serve the worst dish, you're going home, unless you get lucky like Seeger, but you're going home. And so Seeger served the worst dish twice, but that's it. Like you just can't have the worst dish, and Anthony had it. So So you don't have that in
in your world, like looking at past Top Chef winners, you don't look at them and just say, that's an asterisk. I think Nina Compton should have won. Or you just like, hey, that person was the top chef and that's the champ and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you win. I also, I had a whole conversation about this with some chefs today. And we decided that second place is pretty good. Like second place is still essentially a win. Because a lot of times
Final Four in basketball, we say, hey, how many Final Fours did they have? Kentucky. And you can say, hey, but in very, very few other sports do we praise getting to the Final Four. And I wish that more NBA teams would embrace that. Is like, hey, we got to the finals. But with LeBron, he's 3-6 in the finals and Michael is 6-0. And so just getting to the finals and losing, second place in sports feels like a loss more than a win.
Oh man.
I know, it's sad, isn't it? Like how unfulfilling that must be. Yeah.
Yeah, like and maybe some of the things that I'm talking about are more individual sports. We'll say like we talk about, I guess just in golf, how many masters? I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But second place is pretty good. And also people still can they can be like, this person should have won. Like they still are rooting for you. They want to see you come back and do it again. So, I mean, I think that I don't think Anthony is done. I think you're going to see some more Anthony. I think Seeger probably has his head in a hole right now. I don't know that you see much of him. I think that Jonathan, his brother has a great social media following, but I liked Jonathan. I would rather follow Jonathan than Brandon. So
well, I don't think Brandon is listening. Maybe he is right now. But if he is listening, I will tell you, Brandon, even though you're not on my team, I will point out you have more points in our scoring system in Top Chef than your brother, Jonathan, even though Jonathan went further in the competition. And Tom said, hey, you beat your brother. That's all that matters. But Brandon has 16 points in our point system and Jonathan has 10. Because Jonathan he never won.
Accumulate negatives from being in the bottom.
Yeah, he had 4 bottoms, and then Brandon wasn't in the bottom until he was out. So Brandon was middle or in the top 3 every single time, and then was out. And so because of that, he had more points, and not just more points, but he had 16 points.
I think
Jennifer
you
had 13, and Jonathan had 10.
I think you got to get rid of that 3 points for being in the bottom, right? Because that means that as you go along, I don't think we should be taking points from you that you've earned. You're just not getting points, You're just not getting points. That's where I usually
do it.
Yeah,
I think we have it 0. This year we're doing -3. So is this been decreed that we're going to change the scoring system?
I think you go back. Or maybe it's not 3. Maybe it's 1 or something. But 3 seems pretty tough. Yeah, pretty tough. Yeah.
So do we want to talk about it?
Go for it.
Little Easter egg at the end of the episode here for the preview for the next episode.
Did you see me at the end of the table?
Yeah.
And I would like to clarify, because I do have the most amazing team that has ever been drafted in the history of Pack Your Knives. We shot that beforehand. We taped it beforehand. I swear I knew nothing. Yeah. And then they called and they were like, I was kind of upset because they hadn't called me to do anything. I was like, oh, well, they don't need me to come out there to Charlotte. And then I got a call and they were like, can you come and do the finale? And I was like,
finale.
Fuck yeah, I can. Of course I can. So I went out and did the finale.
Little behind the scenes here is I got an invite to go to these things before you did. And I'm sure you were feeling like, well, shit, I've been on Top Chef twice. I did last season and I was on and I was a guest judge on last season, and then they just dumped me. I know. And I'm sitting here being like, yeah, you should be on this show way more than I am. And then you got called into duty and it was really cool. But I did not get any inside information from you. You were a great, not a good, not a great. You were not a good. You were a great soldier on this one. You did not reveal anything to me. You said I cannot say anything, and so I was completely in the dark on this one. And you have a pretty damn good poker face because I still don't know who wins Top Chef, and you.
I do.
Yeah.
I will say it's not Brandon or Jonathan. I can give you that much.
Wow. Is it Anthony though?
It's not Anthony either.
Oh, man.
I will let you know. It is either Seeger. No, not Seeger. No. It's either Rhoda, Lawrence, or Sherry. That's one of those. It was fabulous though. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I didn't want to.
Joe and, honestly, and Izar. There was a really cool table. It seemed like.
And the thing is like, ever since I've done Top Chef, and to be such a Top Chef fan, the first season after I did it, somebody was like, do you want to know who won? And I was like, yeah. And then I watched it and it was like all of the joy had been sucked out of Top Chef for me because I knew from the very first episode. And I have been pretty adamant about not learning who does it. So even like last year, I was a guest judge and I didn't know who won. I didn't know. I didn't want to know. I don't want to know. I want to be able to enjoy it. So this one was a little bit harder because I knew, but I didn't tell anybody. I'm very good. I feel like this podcast has been my it's been my application. It's been my audition for Traders. Okay, I want to be on Traders. I could be good at that, right? Like I could do it. I don't know how. I would want to be one of the nice ones. I would want to be one of the, I can't remember what they are. They call
what is the shooting, the production schedule for Traders? Do you know?
I don't know. I would think it's pretty fast because there's some days where they're like, and we're going to lose 2 people today. I think it's probably pretty, they're not called the loyals. What are they called? The good people.
Well, guess what?
I can't remember.
This is where I reveal
Faithfuls.
I have not watched Traders yet, but I think you'd be great on it.
It's
Sarah.
really,
I'm a good
really,
friend,
really
and
good.
I think you'd be great, even if I don't know. You always need a friend who just supports you, regardless if they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, you'd be great on it, Sarah.
I would do it, right?
And you know what? It reminds me, we haven't talked about this. The episode this week, like they come back to Charlotte, but usually there's time off, right before the finale. Like the next week is just it's over. So like they were gone and didn't have any time to come back to their kitchens, their restaurants, their family, and they just taped all the way through. So this is a new setup, right? New pacing.
I mean, if you come to Top Chef without a recipe for at least 2 or 3 recipes for dessert, you're crazy. The other thing is if you don't come with some pretty significant ideas for your finale meal, like what are you even, why would you even think? Like I always went in thinking, I'm going to the finale. What am I going to cook? I let where I was affect and kind of influence those ideas. But I always knew for sure. I mean, I had like very much thought, this is what I will cook. So I don't know. The food's good next week. I'll say that. It's very delicious.
Oh, I have so many questions that I can't ask you. So you know what? I'm going to save it for next week. Anything else?
It is exciting. I'll say this much too. It's really exciting because I love, like, I don't know. I can't remember all the shit that I said. And the stuff comes out of my mouth very freely. And so I'm like, what did I say? What did I do in an interview? Like, da 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 blah, blah, blah. So I'll get to, it'll be all like watching myself on TV again. We never know what Sarah does.
Well, we did a watch party last year and I remember getting nervous because I don't think in the screeners they show the winner. Like they save that. And so they want to like keep that because I think the lawyers get involved and they're like, hey, let's just, rather than letting it spoil potential for a leak, let's just not reveal who the winners. I think maybe last year they did put the winner in the advanced screener. So you will, I presume, be able to see before it airs publicly if any of your best zingers got onto the show.
Yeah. And if you don't know,
remember
a screener. So Tom and I get access to the video, to the show early, so that we can record early and we can, I think, how many times do you watch it? Once, twice, what?
Usually Usually twice, but sometimes it just once. Yeah, I'll go back and rewatch. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually watch it twice also. But that way we can like get it done so that we can get the content to you guys like right away. So that's been really nice because I remember a while back, like you guys, the show would come out and then we would have to wait for you guys to release the podcast because you weren't getting it early, were you?
Nope. Not during your season.
No, yeah.
And I will say, it takes a little bit away from the in the moment reaction. By the way, Threads is really fun. That social media platform is really fun on Top Chef. Like some of the conversations on there are really good. And I find that it's way better than like Twitter or any of the other, like Reddit's kind of, I think Reddit is good like after the fact, but as like a live, I think it's replaced Twitter. Like sports is for sure X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like Threads is where it's at for Top Chef. And I miss the kind of live community aspect. I don't know if you feel the same way, that when you're all watching it together, it hits differently than when you're just watching it on a laptop in your kitchen. As like I do pretty much every week, is I watch it in my kitchen and then I'll watch it in my office right before we go to air. So I do miss that a little bit. I do.
But I also like really like that I get to see it before the rest of America. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun.
I was thinking Traitors audition or get it before America. Where is that now that you've
if
done
I got to be on Traitors, I would watch Top Chef at the same time as the rest.
The reason why you joined Pack Your Knives is to get the screener, or because this is just a stepping stone to being on Traitors?
I think because I'm a fan of the show. You know, like we would sit down, like my husband and I would like listen to what like you guys had to say, and I think that it's probably some of the most valid information that comes. It's the gameplay of it, right? Like it's just a different way to think about the show. And that's why I think, I don't know, like I get excited when I meet people that listen to Pack Your Knives because I know and their brains is smart, right? They smart people. Like they have to be. They smart people.
Maze in the chat says, ranking your preferences on why you joined Pack Your Knives: 1, dominate Tom; 2, screener access; 3, shortcut to Traitors. Accurate.
I know. Yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah. Man, I just whooped your ass. I'm so sorry. I just did not. I didn't know. And here's what the crazy part is, Tom, is that I never knew like what happened between, like I knew what happened when you went on and I knew who the final 3 were, but I had no clue how they got there. I didn't know like when someone went home or any of that stuff. I just knew who the final 3 were. And that was
so you didn't know Rhoda went to Last Chance Kitchen.
I had no clue. Like when she got sent home, I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Because I just figured she had gone. I didn't know any of that had happened. I didn't know I didn't know any of that stuff. So at least I got like a little bit of it and like got to follow the story as it developed. I was like, oh my God, I got the top 3. I was like, this is great. But I like couldn't say anything because I just had to, because you don't want to give it away.
You knew you had the top 3.
I know, but I couldn't tell you.
Oh man, this is so bad. Now I'm listening. I'm getting so much just like delayed grief and shame that you knew this whole time that you were going to fucking clean up. And But again, for people listening, the timeline is we did the blind draft before we went to anything. Before we went to anything or knew anything, we did the blind draft. So there's no way either of us could have known how far they get in the competition.
How much Sarah would destroy Tom.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
it's okay. It's
maybe
okay.
Maybe won't be back next year, Sarah. Maybe it won't be. Maze, we have some decisions to make,
All right.
So listen to you. You feel bad now.
I do. I know. I mean, I can see you crying. I can see your eyes tearing up. It's a little, he's not crying, y'all. It's just there's an eyelash in his eye.
Dwen and Anthony had more points than Brandon and Jonathan and Seeger. So how about that? I think I've learned we're going to redo the scoring system a little bit so it's not as punitive to be in the bottom 3. You're not allowed to have any of the top 5 picks. I have them all. And if you aren't on Top Chef yet, you're going to be on Top Chef. So just keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. You'll see me. I'm in the pink see-through shirt. Mm-hmm. Not my normal style, but this is what they styled me in, a pink see-through shirt.
Oh, so this isn't I
have like clothes on underneath it, but it's like a sheer pink shirt, turtleneck. They got the makeup on me. They got the earrings on me. They got me all zhuzhed up. But it's fun. It's a great time. Yeah, it was a great time.
All right. Well, we know that you're in the finale next week. Very much looking forward to that. And, I didn't know if Liza Koshy is Australian. Maybe she isn't, but the shoey that Tom Colicchio was one of my favorite moments of the episode. What is this? A clothesline for ants? And is this what you want to hang your hat on? Tom Colicchio talking to Jonathan. Just a couple things that I just wanted to note before we go. That kind of I had in my notes. Anything else you want to say before we go out?
I'm good. See y'all next week.
For Sarah Bradley, I'm Tom Haberstroh, and this is Pack Your Knives.